Okay, so let's discuss air hunger. It's a topic that's come up a few times of late for me in my private teaching. And a couple of people left comments on a previous breathing video I did, saying how they experienced air hunger. Now, I'll link to that video anyway, because you'll find that useful, the breathing exercise within it. Basically, the long shot of it was long out breaths are useful. So you do nice long out breath, pause and then release. You don't actively breathe in, you just release the tension it takes to hold the air out and let the in-breath come. And that's just a nice way to get the ribcage moving and calm down your nervous system. That's something long out breaths do. They kick in your parasympathetic nervous system. Like I said, I'll link to that, it'll be in the description. But it's an observation I've made around air hunger. And it's a behavioural thing that we could say broadly fits in to the Alexander idea of end gaining, trying to achieve an end result, not being mindful of how you achieve it. Now, what I noticed was there's some sensations people tend to focus on in their breathing, which they use to sense that they are breathing. The problem with it, it's a bit of a mirage, and it's not the real thing. It's not what's actually causing you to breathe. And those senses are the sensation of air passing through your nose, that sensation of cold air, a touch sensation if you like, but also the sound. So you get this very sort of gulping, grasping for air, trying to get air. And when you hear that sound and feel that sensation, it kind of scratches an itch. The thing with it is it's an end result, it's not the thing itself. That sensation is a byproduct, not the thing you actually want. And if you're distracted from the thing you want, you may not be getting the confidence you're looking for that you're getting air. So what causes air to come in and out and create those sensations? Well, it's basically movement of the rib cage is generating that. So what you want to be aware of is that you have free movement. If you've got free movement in the rib cage, it doesn't matter what's happening here. So what happens obviously is as you breathe out, the rib cage comes in and the diaphragm releases up. So there's less volume. Because there's less volume there, to equalize the pressure, air comes out to equalize the pressure with the external air. And as you breathe in, the rib cage moves out and the diaphragm moves down, creates volume. So there's now, it would be a lower pressure, but it isn't, because we equalise the pressure by air moving back in. So basically our movement generates movement of the air in and out. Now the thing is, as long as your trachea isn't closed, the air in your lungs is directly connected to the air outside. So there's the same air in here as outside. It's like a fish in water, the water goes through its gills, it's part of its environment. We're immersed in air, we're immersed in our environment, and we kind of envelop our environment. We bring, the environment, the air, inside us with the lungs, we envelop it, but it's directly connected. So feel like you're part of your environment, feel immersed in that air. And there's actually a lot more air in your lungs than you realise. It takes a while for the gaseous exchange to happen. So obviously the air in your lungs does change its combination of gases. That's the point. We absorb gas. We absorb oxygen, and then we blow out the excess carbon dioxide and then bring more air in. But it's always a flow, and it takes a while. If you want to get a sense of how long that may take, what you can do is breathe out as far as you can and then pause indefinitely. Now, when you've breathed out as far as you can, your lungs don't collapse, there's still space in there. And there's actually more than 50% of your full lung capacity still left in there, so there's loads of air in there. And it takes a while for that air to be absorbed, the oxygen to be absorbed. Now, there's a part of your brain that monitors your blood oxygen levels. And after a while, it will monitor that it's getting a bit low. And you'll instinctively know that's long enough to be holding your breath out. And you relax, and air will just get drawn back in again. But if you can get confident by doing that, realising, actually, I've held my breath out for nearly 10 seconds here. Oh, it's fine, all right, I wanted at the end of that 10 seconds for another breath to come to release the holding out. that's a long time, 10 seconds to be holding your air out. So while you're normally breathing, there's plenty of air in there. Always look for the freedom of movement in your rib cage. And when you're doing these breathing exercises, have your hands on your rib cage. Feel the movement of your rib cage. And if you can sense movement, air is happening. And you're not looking for that sensation through the nose. Ignore that sensation. It's a byproduct. It's irrelevant to our needs to breathing. It just doesn't matter. And the more you can disassociate yourself with that sensation, I think personally, from talking to my clients recently, it has diminished their need to, or when I say need, it's diminished the sensation of air hunger, of that sort of slight panic. So see if you can tune into the movement, get more confidence that actually you're fine with the air you've got by doing the held out breaths, and associate breathing much less with sensation in the mouth or nose and the sound you hear from it, and relate it instead to movement of the rib cage, and relate it to the fact that you're immersed in air all the time. There's nothing you can do about it. It's always there in us. It's flowing all the time. You're a fish in water. That's a phrase I use a lot lately. Mostly I started it with in terms of posture, but actually it's true of our breathing as well, and all functionality. I use that phrase to mean that our functionality has no basis unless it has an environment in which it operates. So a fish has no functioning out of water, and we have no functioning without the air we're immersed in, and relation to posture, the upthrust of the ground underneath us. But yeah, give that a thought, give it a go, watch the previous video, and let me know if that helps. Experiment with it. All right, bye.